Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another StarCraft 2 1 vs 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. We're on the map Site Delta, the AI edition of course. We have got a Terran competitor and a Zerg competitor. But as always, the race rules don't apply as much in these bot games. We've got the 2-base push king, Phobos, going to be taking on one of the top macro bots. It's Caninana, if not the best bot with the best late game. So, we'll see how it's going to go between these two today. Whoops, I did not mean to do that, whatever I clicked. And yeah, we'll always I think I've seen enough of these bot games to have a rough idea of how it's gonna go. However, these bot authors are always changing things up. There is a good amount of variation in the individual games. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Let's be bold on this one. Let's go for 69 likes on this video. If we can do that, that would be amazing. So give it a click if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the Discord, and if you're a bot author, send me your bot replays. Let's see. We have got Caninana going for its early spawning pool. This is not an aggressive play it goes for, though. The bot author elected to go for the safe approach when it comes to opening macro-wise. So it goes on the slow and steady approach, and that seems to work out pretty darn well for Caninana. Means it's not going to get cheesed out too hard or anything like that. We've got a queen on the way, getting up that natural hatchery. All the while, Phobos is just going for a Reaper expand. That Reaper is crossing the map, so this one Ling will come in. Just going to be for scouting, though. Run right into that man with gun, and actually makes it on by. However, a couple of SCVs are out for blood. They say, not on my turf. And then they go right back to work, so good job, SCVs. Looks like we may actually see a drone go down to the Reaper. Was that 2 drones? Pardon me? No, just... yeah, 2 drones. Holy cow, Phobos' Reaper is going nuts. So Caninana went for the early pool, but taking a lot of early damage. The Reaper grenade also bouncing that queen back. So really well done there. I was focused on the scouting Ling. I did not expect the Reaper to also get 2 kills. That's what happens when generally Reapers don't get too much done in this day and age of StarCraft 2, when it's just 1 Reaper. We're very spoiled when it comes to how well players and the bots in general respond to things. So yeah, Caninana having a bit of a rough spot. There's now Hellions on the way for Phobos following this up, so I'm curious to see what those are going to be used for. Is it going to be just 2 Hellions? No, more on the way. So potentially a Hellbat Marauder attack. We'll see, as this is looking mighty suspicious. If there's an armory on the way in a minute, we'll know for sure. And then there we have it, the armory on the way. Burrow is on the way for Caninana, so that's a very important tool when it comes to defending this aggression. There is a Roach Warren already out. Roaches are so darn good against defending Hellbats. We've got a Spine Crawler going up in the main base. Not sure how helpful that will be. However, there's also one building at the natural. So Caninana playing it incredibly safe, getting set up to defend against this early aggression rather well, dare I say. Now, Phobos is going to have a follow-up to this attack. It's not just going to give up if this attack fails. And we'll see if it's actually going to succeed or not. There's a very nice supply block on Caninana. 2 more Overlords have to be made. I guess that's one of the things that you really got to make sure you program if you're a Zerg bot author. Really make sure that your Overlord or depot replacement behavior is good. Like, it's so much rarer that a Terran or a Protoss gets supply blocked by losing a building. We're now seeing Phobos move on in for the attack. There's 7 Hellions. They're going full Autobots and transforming. Then Yeah, in come the Marauders getting elevated by that Medivac, so the Medivac can heal up the Hellbats, can heal up the Marauders. The Viking gonna land cool guy style. Now going up this ramp over. This is a very well defended position for Caninana. One of the Roaches does get targeted down right away. There is no burrow on it. Hellbats are leading the charge, getting right up to the front. The Marauders are pretty disjointed from the rest of the force instead of helping out with the Roaches. Now the Hellbats are getting going all wacky, running up that ramp, but yeah, the attack for Phobos did get split up a little bit. The Medivac goes down. The Marauders are just going to have to retreat on out of here. I think we saw one Roach die. No, actually 3 Roaches die. However, a lot more were saved from that burrow, so there's nothing left here for Phobos. It's just going to let these Marauders suicide, and then going to have to go into Plan B, which apparently is a 3rd command center on location and a siege tank on the way. The siege tanks are so important when it comes to playing against these Zerg bots, because tanks can one-shot Roaches. Well, not one-shot, but like 2 or 3-shot them. So burrow isn't as effective. Then there's also the Raven out for Phobos. I love to see that. We're getting more Medivacs on the way, more bio on the way. No stim pack or combat shield just yet. However, I think Phobos should be fine with a follow-up. Caninana, though, is taking its slow and steady approach. It says, all right, I defended the cheese. Now it's time to just get up a 3rd base. It's probably not going to attack anytime soon. It is usually the defensive bot, and that's what we've seen already. One poor Zergling runs on in, gets destroyed by a tank. Tunneling Claws are now on the way for Caninana. That's going to be very nice. Phobos is building up to what's going to be another push, I imagine, that Caninana will have to react to. And it's not on a great economy. It's on a standard Caninana economy, but it's not on an economy that you'd look at and say, hey, 50 drone Zerg against 60 SCV Terran. So we're going to have to see some really good efficiency from the Blue Zerg at some point. It's constantly scouting out, and cool enough, we are going to see Phobos actually go for a drop. So changing things up a little bit. It's going for a push at the front, but then also going for a drop to move out. So trying to hit multiple locations. And Changelings are seeing this entire Terran army, so Caninana should just be making units at this point. It does have the Roaches making lots of Lings. So yeah, just mainly units coming out for Caninana. That drop is being queued on up, and the tanks are moving out. The tank setup is going to be very important for Phobos to not choke with these and make sure they actually get some big tank shots off. We are seeing Caninana actually just run right on in, get the surround on the tanks, and kill off one of them. Gets a second due to the friendly fire. That is a really good start. The Roaches can trade out okay against the bio. Already knocking down 2 of the tanks is so huge. Is there another crossing the map? Yes, there is. There's also this drop in the main base. However, there's a boatload of queens to respond to it. Phobos actually picking up those units, continuing the drop. There's also a scan getting used. That's a bit overkill, I'll say, seeing as how there is a Raven on the front. But that tank still zoning out this Zerg army, shooting as much as it can. The rest of the Medivac seems to be bringing these other units back. The tanks will inch forward for Phobos. That's got to be an interesting thing to program as the bot author of Phobos. Like, how do you program your bot to inch the tanks forward? I imagine there's some cool math there. Probably just going to keep one of them unsieged at a time, hopefully. There we go, inching them forward. So that is very neat to see. Phobos trying to get more and more forward. Medivacs are flying a little too close, though. And there's also Ghosts being added into the mix now, which I did not expect. Ghosts at the 9-minute mark is kind of early. And also just that many Ghosts when going for what is a killer push is a little unusual. Another scan gets used, providing vision for these tanks to keep shelling as the poke is slow and steady for Phobos. The bio is here to buffer for the siege tanks. Creep constantly being attempted to be spread in the middle of the battle, and more tanks are coming forward. This is becoming problematic for Caninana. At some point, it's going to have to sally forth and try and break this. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. Eating more tank shots, losing some units. It's making mainly Hydras. This push is looking real nasty. If there was, say, Vipers or Infestors on the way, I'd be a lot happier for Caninana right now. But man, what a push this is by Phobos, just getting its boot on the neck of Caninana. There's a push now towards this 4th base. Snipes are now being added on in. Resources lost are surprisingly close. Not that much has actually died yet. There is Neural Parasite on the way. However, no Infestors have been produced just yet. Caninana is just being boxed into its own natural, and a human player would realize that this is a death sentence potentially. However, Caninana is just doing the logical thing, staying out of range of the tanks. It's going back into its main base. This is not good, though. Snipes going down all over the place now. I mean, bots with unlimited APM can snipe a lot. There's currently 6 siege tanks. That count was at 1. However, Phobos has just reinforced. The 4th base is now dead. And I think we're going to be seeing a dead Caninana here, as this is just a massive main base contain. There's a chance if some Infestors, say, burrow under the army and get some huge Neural Parasites or massive Fungles, maybe it can happen. Army supply, though, is not looking too hot. Resources lost is creeping up. Caninana only on 3 bases. So is Phobos, but Phobos is designed on 3 bases, and it's actually getting up a 4th. So barring some major glitching or something, I think Phobos is in a really good spot here. This Ling is going to be causing a bit of trouble. However, Caninana has got 7 tanks at its natural. Where are those Infestors? 3 are out. There's 4 more on the way. Are we going to see them go for a sneaky burrow play? Caninana has got really good Infestor usage, but if there's like a bad time scan or something like that, it will just be disastrous. The tanks are inching more and more forward. The Terran bio is so grouped up we could see a big fungal or something, but looks like Caninana has just given up the natural. It doesn't realize how much of a make or break situation that is. And oh, there's a big fungal. That is so big. A second one gets tossed down as well. Caninana at least gets off 1 or 2 big spells. However, another Infestor pops and promptly dies. There's another fungal. Not nearly as good, though. And yeah, the tanks still remain. The Medivacs are healing up the bio after the fungal. I mean, there's still 6 Infestors out. But like, it would have to be the most god tier fungals. Even then, Phobos has got a huge bank. It's maxed out. It's going up a terrible choke point of a ramp, but yeah, Caninana just having a hard time with the siege tanks, as so many bots do. I thought it was going to be a close hold. I didn't know that it would just give up and die like this. But it just goes to show that when you're programming a bot, logic can have unintended consequences. Like, Caninana's retreat behavior saves it a lot of the time. But when it's pushed all the way into its natural, all of a sudden it's not looking too hot. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the coverage of these bot games, make sure to go ahead, click that like button. There's another massive fungal. I mean, I think it's too little too late, but there's another one as well. Caninana, does it have one more? Can we see one more fungal? Infestors are getting sniped, unfortunately. Yeah, it's got really good spellcaster usage, just the contain was too strong. Tanks are hard to overcome. Anyway, as I was saying before I got interrupted by that fungal, if you enjoyed this bot coverage, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and consider becoming a YouTube member. I did get the new icons up for that, so they're very representative of StarCraft now. And yeah, let's yeah, I'll probably check out more Caninana games soon, because it is just so darn good with the macro. Big snipes all over the place. Pew pew pew. Phobos showing us that ghosts can be cool. We don't see a ton of bots that utilize snipe, but Phobos really is going for those cool points. Pew pew pew. Everything dies.
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted. Vespine geyser exhausted. Command center upgrade complete. Vespine geyser exhausted.